Hello and welcome to the Idiot Book Nook, episode 51. My name is Blazewing, and my pronouns are she, her, and they, them.
And I am the reading dragon. My pronouns are she, her.
I'm Lady Punnet. My pronouns are primarily she, her, sometimes they, them. Today is a she, her kind of day.
And I'm Crittershy. My pronouns are she, her with a sprinkle of they, them. Today is a she, her kind of day.
Excellent. We are delving into chapter 35 of the Amulet of Samarkand, which means we have 9 chapters left of this book. So we are getting there, but before we get into that, if you would like to follow us on social media, you can do so at linktr.ee/idiotbooknook. You can find all of our socials. You can find links to our Twitch, should you wish to join us at 9 a.m. Mountain Time on Wednesdays. And you can also find a link to our podcast feeds. If we happen to not have a feed up where you listen to your podcasts, please, by all means, let us know. And we would be more than happy to add that. You can also leave us voicemail messages over on Anchor. And we can do kind of a listener viewer feedback episode personally. I don't really know. Every time I say that, it gets more and more awkward. But as I said, we're doing chapter 35 of the Amulet of Samarkand today. And we're getting close to the end. I think we're coming up on our climax here. So we're drawing close. With that being said, chapter 36, not chapter 35. I miswrote in my notes here, so let me fix that. So yeah, chapter 36, and with that, narrator, are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be, and I believe we are still being Bartimaeus, which is fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, I am ready.
Excellent. Take it away, please.
The Bartimaeus Trilogy, Book 1, The Amulet of Samarkand, written by Jonathan Stroud, narrated by the Reading Dragon, voice acted by the Reading Dragon, Blazewing 2010, Lady Punnet, and Crittershy. Chapter 36. So here he was, the man who had stolen the Amulet of Samarkand and vanished without a trace. The man who had cut its keeper's throat and left him lying in his blood. Lovelace's hireling. For a human, he was sizable, a head taller than most men and broad-shouldered. He wore a long buttoned jacket of dark cloth and wide trousers in the Eastern style that were loosely tucked into high leather boots. Beneath his heavy brows... Oh, wait, no, I skipped a line, sorry. His beard was jet black, his nose broad, his eyes a piercing blue beneath his heavy brows. For a big man, he moved gracefully, one hand swinging easily at his side, the other tucked into his belt. The mercenary walked around the bonnet toward my side window, his eyes on us all the while. As he drew close, he looked away and waved dismissively. I glimpsed our escort ghouls vanishing back toward the fields. I stuck my head partway out the window. Good morning, I said cheerily, in what I hoped was a suitable London accent. Ernest Scholes and Son, with a delivery of groceries for the hall. The man stopped and considered us silently for a moment.
Who would like to take that?
I'll take it.
Okay.
It's Squalls and Sons, correct?
Yes.
Squalls and Son.
The voice was low, deep. The voice was slow, deep. The blue eyes seemed to look through me as he spoke. It was a disconcerting effect. At my side, the boy gave an involuntary gulp. Oh, I hope he wasn't going to panic.
Squalls and Son, yes. You are expected.
Yes, Governor.
What have you brought?
Groceries, Governor.
Namely?
I hadn't a clue. All sorts, Governor. Would you like to expect them?
A list will suffice.
Drat. Very well, Gov. We've got boxes, we've got tins, lots of tins, sir. Packets of things, bottles. The eyes narrowed.
You don't sound very specific.
A high voice sounded at my elbow. Nathaniel leaned across me.
He didn't take the list, sir. I did. We've got Baltic caviar, plover's eggs, fresh asparagus, curled Bolognese salami, Syrian olives, vanilla stalks from Central America, freshly made pasta, lark's tongues in aspect, giant land snails marinated in their shells, tubes of freshly ground black pepper and rock salt, Wirral oysters, ostrich meat.
The mercenary held up a hand.
Enough. Now I wish to inspect them.
Yes, Governor. Gloomily, I got down from the cab and led the way to the back of the van, devoutly wishing that the boy hadn't let his imagination run away with him quite so much. What would happen when some completely different groceries were revealed? I did not care to think. But it could not be helped now. With the mercenary looming impassively at my side, I opened the rear door and inched it open. He surveyed the interior for a few moments.
Very well. You may continue up to the house.
Almost in disbelief, I considered the contents of the van. A crate of bottles in one corner caught my eye. Syrian olives. Half hidden behind them, a small box of larks' tongues, sheets of wrapped pasta. I shut the door and returned to the cab. Any directions for us, Governor? The man rested a hand on the lip of my open window. The back of the hand was crisscrossed with thin white scars.
Follow the drive until it splits. Take the right fork to the rear of the house. Someone will meet you there. Carry out your business and return. Before you go, I shall give you a warning. You are now entering the private property of a great magician. Do not stray or trespass if you value your lives. The penalties are severe and would curdle your blood.
Yes, sir. With a nod, he stepped back and signaled us to pass. I revved the engine and we passed slowly under the arch. Soon afterward, we crossed beneath the protective domes. Both made my essence tingle. Then we were through and following a sandy, curving driveway between the trees. I regarded the boy. His face was impassive, but a single bead of sweat trickled down his temple. How did you know all the items? I said. You only had a couple of seconds looking in the back. He gave a thin smile.
Please.
I was coughing. I didn't think you wanted to listen to that.
Oh, I didn't see, because I have it half covered, everybody, to read with the book.
It's all good.
I've been trained. I read fast and remember accurately. So, what did you think of him?
Lovelace's little assassin. Intriguing. He's not a genie, and I don't think he's a magician either. He doesn't quite have your scent of corruption. But we know he was able to seize the amulet, so he must have some power. And he exudes great confidence. Did you notice how the ghouls obeyed him?
I wasn't being rude here. Well, alright, I was, but it was accurate abuse nonetheless.
Hold on a second.
Right.
Isn't Critter doing those footnotes? Or are you still doing those?
I thought that since I was being Nathaniel last time, Critter took over.
Okay.
I wasn't sure. Are we going back to... Do you want Critter to take them?
You're good. Last week was a blur for me. I don't remember a lot of what happened last week, so go for it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't being rude here. Well, alright, I was, but it was an accurate abuse nonetheless. I may not be a search sphere imp, all nostrils, remember, but I've got an acute sense of smell and can nearly always identify a magician, even when they're going incognito. All those years of hanging out in smoky rooms summoning powerful entities give their skin a distinctive odor, in incense and the sharp pang of fear features predominantly. If after that you're still unsure, the censure is to look 'em in the eyes. Usually you can see their lenses.
Clencher and prominently. That is an interesting word, though, predominantly.
It is a word.
Sorry. The boy wrinkled his forehead.
If he's not a magician or a demon, what sort of power can he have?
Don't deceive yourself, I said darkly. There are other kinds. I was thinking of the Resistance Girl and her companions. I was spared further questioning as the driveway suddenly straightened and we broke out of the belt of trees, and up ahead we saw Heddleham Hall. The boy gasped. It didn't have quite the same effect on me. When you've helped construct several of the world's most majestic buildings, and in some instances given pretty useful tips to the architects concerned, a second-rate Victorian mansion in the Gothic style doesn't exactly wet your whistle. You know, the kind of thing, lots of twiddly bits and turrets. It was surrounded by a wide expanse of lawn, on which peacocks and wallabies were decoratively scattered. A couple of striped tents had been erected on the lawns, to which sundry servants were already carting trays of bottles and wine glasses down from the terrace. In front of the house was a massive ancient yew. Under its spreading limbs the driveway split. The left-hand fork swooped elegantly around to the front of the house. The right-hand fork trundled meekly around the back.
As per our orders.
No, we have clip notes.
No, we have to do the as per our orders first.
Shit. Oh, I didn't know the paragraph continued to the next page. Never mind, sorry. As per our orders, we took to the tradesman's route.
Not that my advice was always taken. Check out the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Not a good enough description for you. Well, I was only trying to move the story on. Heddleham Hall was a great rectangular pile with stubby north-south wings, plenty of tall arched windows, 2 stories, high-sloping gables, a surfeit of brick chimneys, ornate transees that amount to the
Baroque
folks' battlements above the main door, high vaulted ceilings, heavily groined, sundry gargoyles, likewise, and all constructed from creamy brown stone that looked attractive in moderation, but en masse made everything blur like a big block of melting fudge.
Fudge.
So decoratively that I wondered if their feet had been glued in position.
In the future, it's en masse.
I thought it was en masse.
En masse.
Oh. Alright then. Even I didn't know.
Basically, it means all together, or kind of all grouped together. Basically, everything's all in one place. It's all en masse.
Yeah. My master was still drinking the whole sight in with a lustful look. "Forget your pathetic daydreams," I said. "If you want to end up with one of these, you've got to survive today first. So, now we're inside. We need to formulate our plan. What exactly is it?" The boy was focused again in an instant.
Well, from what Lovelace told us,
He said,
we guess that he's going to attack the ministers in some way. How? Well, we don't know. It'll happen once they've arrived, when they're most relaxed and unawares. The amulet is vital to his scheme, whatever it is.
"Yes, agreed." I tapped the steering wheel. "But what about our plan?"
Right. Well, the way I see it, we've got two objectives. To find the amulet, and to work out what trap Lovelace is preparing. Lovelace will probably have the amulet on his person. In any event, it'll be well guarded. It would be useful to locate it, but we don't want to take it from him until everyone has arrived. We've got to show them that he has it. Prove he's a traitor. And if we can show them the trap too, so much the better. We'll have all the evidence that we need.
You make it sound so simple. I considered for Quarrel, Jabor, and all the other slaves Lovelace was likely to have in hand, and sighed. "Oh, first we need to ditch this van and these disguises." The driveway came to a sudden end at a circular area of gravel at the back of the house. The florist's van was parked there. A set of white double doors was open nearby, with a man dressed in a dark uniform standing outside. He indicated for us to pull over.
All right.
The boy said,
We unload the van and seize the first chance we get. Wait for my orders.
"Hey, do I ever do anything else?" I managed to skid the van to a halt a few millimeters away from the ornamental shrubbery and got out. The flunky approached.
Critter.
1 second.
Don't die.
Mr. Squalls.
"That's me, Governor. This is my son."
You're late. The cook has need of your items. Please bring them to the kitchen with all speed.
"Yes, Governor." An easy feeling ran through my essence and rippled the bristles on the back of my neck. Ooh, the cook. Oh, no. It wouldn't be. He'd be elsewhere, surely. I opened the van door. "Son, snap to it, or you'll feel the back of my hand." Ah. I took a certain bleak pleasure in loading the boy up with as many jars of Syrian olives and giant land snails as I could, then propelled him on his way. He staggered off under his load, not unlike Simpkin in Pin Shop, and I selected a small tub of lark's tongues and followed him through the doors and into a cool, whitewashed passage. Various servants of every shape, sex, and size were racing about the startled hares, engaged in 100 tasks. Everywhere there was a great clattering and hubbub. A scent of baked bread and roasting meats hung in the air, emanating from a wide arch that led on to the kitchen.
Note number 5.
Don't think I'd forgotten Simpkin. On the contrary, I have a long memory and a fertile imagination. Fertile imagination. I had plans for him.
Many plans, indeed. Also, I had the thought mambo number 5. Anyway.
Thanks.
I peered through the arch. Dozens of white-clothed undercooks, chopping, basting, rinsing, slicing. Something turned on the spit in the fireplace. Stacks of vegetables were piled high on the tables beside open pastry cases being filled with jellied fruits. It was a hive of activity. Orchestrating it all was a sizable head chef who, at the moment was shouting at a small boy wearing a blue uniform. The chef's sleeves were rolled up. He had a thick white bandage wrapped around one arm. I checked the 7th plane and ducked back out of sight. I knew those tentacles far too well for there to be any doubt.
There's tentacles involved.
Yes, many. All of them.
And they all.
On stream!
I mean, this is 18+ stream, so.
Listen, if our listeners don't know me by now, like, are you even listening to the podcast at all?
Exactly, and we are demons anyway. Anywho, my master had entered the kitchen, placed his precarious load on a nearby work surface, and was coming out again, none the wiser. As he rounded the door, I thrust the logs' tongue into his hand. "Take those too," I hissed. "I can't go in."
Why?
"Just do it." He had the sense to obey, and quickly, for the servant in the dark uniform had appeared. He had the sense to obey, and quickly, for the servant in the dark uniform had reappeared in the corridor and was observing us intently. We headed back out again for the next load. "The head cook," I whispered, as I pulled a crate of boar pâté to the back of the van.
Hang on a second.
"Is the..."
We have some clacking.
No, that's my cat. He's sneezing.
Aww.
Okay. Sorry.
Tell your cats we said bless you.
That's why I haven't been saying, but he gets... So, since we did a bunch of cleaning yesterday, there's a bunch of dust in different areas, and I opened a window to let some air in, which might have let some pollen in, and my cat has allergies and, like, respiratory issues. And so when he starts to sneeze, it sounds like clanking over the mic.
Oh, babies. Poor kitty.
Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, so no, it's just the cat.
Okay.
"The head cook," I whispered, as I pulled a crate of boar pâté to the back of the van, "is the genie for quarrel. Don't ask me why he likes that disguise, I've no idea. But I can't go in. He'll spot me instantly." The boy's eyes narrowed.
How do I know you're telling the truth?
"Fetch. You'll just have to trust me on this one. There, you can manage another stack of ostrich steaks, can't you? Oops. Perhaps not." I helped him to his feet. "I'll unload the van. You take the stuff in. We'll both think what to do." During the course of several round trips for the boy, we thrashed out a plan of campaign. It took a fair bit of thrashing to reach agreement. He wanted us both to slip past the kitchen to explore the house, but I was extremely reluctant to go anywhere near Farquhar, for good reason. My idea was to unload, ditch the van in the trees somewhere, and creep back to start our investigations. But the kid would have none of this,
It's all right for you.
he said.
You can cross the lawns like a gust of poisonous wind, or something. I can't. They'll catch me before I'm halfway. Now that I'm at the house, I've got to go in.
But you're a grocer's boy. How will you explain that when you're seen? He smiled an unpleasant smile.
Don't worry. I won't be a grocer's boy for long.
Well, it's too risky for me to pass the kitchen, I said. I was lucky just now. Carl can usually sense me a mile off. It's no good. I'll have to find another way in.
I don't like it.
He said.
How long till we meet up?
I'll find you. Just don't get caught in the meantime. He shrugged. If he was terrified out of his wits, he was doing a good job of hiding it. I piled the last baskets of plover's eggs into his hands and watched him waddle off into the house. Then I shut the van doors, left the keys on the driver's seat, and considered the position. I soon abandoned my idea of disposing the van in the streets. That was more likely to attract attention than just quietly leaving it here. No one was worrying about the florist's van, after all. I have thoughts.
I pressed space and I lost my spot. What page are we on?
377.
Just before
377?
Just
Yeah.
bef-
37 if you're on PDF.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Finish.
Yeah.
We're almost
There
there.
were- Yep. Yeah, no, I have a prediction, but moving on. There were too many windows in the house. Ugh. Something could be watching from any of them. I walked toward the door as if I were going inside, checking the planes en route. Far off, a sentry patrol passed above the trees, just inside the innermost dome. That was okay. They'd seen nothing. The house itself looked clear. As I neared the door, I stepped to one side, out of view from within, and changed. Mr. Squalls became a small lizard that dropped to the ground, scuttled to the nearest patch of wall, and ran up it, making for the first floor. My creamy brown skin was ideally camouflaged against the stone. The minute bristles on my feet gave me an excellent grip. My swivel eyes looked up, round, and behind. All things considered, it was another perfect choice of form. Up the wall I ran, wondering how my master was getting on with his more cumbersome disguise.
And thus ends chapter 36, not 35, of the Amulet of Samarkand. And first, can I just say, Bartimaeus is not responsible for the Leaning Tower of Pisa confirmed?
Yeah!
Love it.
He
Because
actually tried to make it upright.
because out of everything mentioned in this book, that is one of the most important things I have ever heard.
He was not responsible for that fuck up.
Yep. So,
Be right back.
yep. So, what new information did we get? What did we learn this chapter?
Farquaad can cook.
We already knew that. He was a cook in another instance. Near
Oh my
the
God.
I
beginning
know,
of
but apparently he's a good enough cook that he can cook for a fancy banquet. There's a difference between being like a house cook and like a banquet cook. Stop sneezing.
Not well. I mean, you also have to think about the fact that in order to be a cook, like for a private residence, you're gonna have to have some skills because they're not gonna hire if you just slap a steak on a stove and call it a day, right? You have to have some sort of skills, which means he's probably. I don't want to say he's got formal training, but he's probably picked up on things over the centuries, which may have led to some fairly interesting dishes that he can make that most people probably wouldn't be able to these days.
I wonder if it's kind of like. So I don't know if anyone here ever watched Supernatural.
I have.
But okay. So during one of the seasons, I forget what it was, but Crowley had to do something
Uh-huh.
for the Winchesters and Bobby, and Bobby agreed to make a deal with him because otherwise Crowley couldn't do it, but he could do it if he did a deal. I wonder if it's like if they're contracted, they gain the skill, or if it's just because we've been around for so long, we definitely have this skill. Because it's been stated demons don't need to eat.
Yeah, well,
it can be a mix of both.
It's been stated that demons don't need to eat, but can they?
I imagine they can.
And that brings in the question of, if that's the case, can they taste what they're eating? I would assume that they've probably just been around for so long, they've picked up things over the centuries, because, I mean, let's face it, you can't be in this world for much more than a couple of years without picking up skills here and there. It happens. It's a natural part of literally just existing in this, on this plane of existence, right?
So I had a thought
Yes.
about Farquaad and why he takes on the chef form so often. My theory?
Because he's a
Farquaad
bitch.
is Marco. No, he's Marco Pierre White, Gordon Ramsay's teacher.
We also know that Bartimaeus is avoiding Farquaad, and for good reason, because I believe last time they met, Farquaad almost kicked Bartimaeus' ass in one-on-one. Twice.
And it's kind of awkward. I think they were roommates.
Uh-huh.
And they were roommates. I mean, the tentacle.
Roommates?
They were roommates. Stop sneezing.
I think it might have been the tentacles that did them in.
Could be. Could be. Nathaniel got to do all the heavy lifting this chapter, though.
Yeah! Literally!
Up to and including falling over in the truck at least once.
Yep.
Critter, what are your thoughts?
I definitely like. I mean, I've always really enjoyed Bartimaeus' like starkiness, and how whenever he gets a chance to like add extra any layer of difficulty or pain or whatever on Nathaniel, he takes it like, here's all this stuff. I don't care if you can't carry it. I can't go in there.
I can't. See, my ex is too awkward.
But yeah, like definitely like feeding all those like historical tidbits as we move along. That's always really, really nice to have. And yeah, you're definitely feeling that mounting pressure at this point. And it's like, come on, let's go.
Let's do the thing. Come in.
There was one piece of information which has confirmed something that I've thought for a while, specifically about Nathaniel. Nathaniel has an eidetic memory.
Yeah.
This is true.
That was pretty impressive.
He said he turned around for a couple of seconds and he managed to memorize all of this shit, which means he has the ability to memorize things as soon as he sees them.
Nathaniel has the keen mind feat.
Which explains how he was able to pick up on the spell casting back at Mr. Underwood's so fast. Literally look at a page, memorize it, flip to the next page. It literally wouldn't take him long to go through any of those books. The only time he'd probably want to do that is if he wanted to take a little more time to understand the meaning behind things, but memorization, he's got it.
Yeah.
Memorization is good and all, but there's a difference between memorizing an equation and understanding how to use it.
And
and Nathaniel has shown that he has the ability to do both.
And that's actually one of the things that we discussed in our last book. Hermione was famous for books and cleverness is all very well, but it's the smarts Hermione was talking about, right?
Yeah, because
you have
she
to be able to
actually
understand what you're reading.
Yeah, because she actually enjoyed taking the time to fully understand
Correct.
the material that she was working on.
Correct. So we're seeing, I think we're seeing that kind of play out here again, where he does have the eidetic memory, but he might actually be taking time to sit down and understand what he's reading, as opposed to just having it memorized.
Would Hermione have the keen mind feat?
Probably. I mean, I'm fairly certain, if I remember correctly, hearing that in some... I don't know if it was like official canon or something like that. Hermione becoming minister.
Jay has redeemed a posture check and says, "Good morning."
Good morning.
Morning, Jay.
Hermione didn't become a minister, to my knowledge. I think that was canon. She did join. Apparently, there's. I'm not sure if it's canon or not for this either, but apparently she joined the ministry and became, like, basically a magical creature's lawyer.
If I recall, in the official lore, as it's written, she actually became Minister for Magic.
Yeah.
That's what I.
But that's also covered in the book that we don't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I was also going to say that.
We don't talk about that book. No.
Not bad. We are currently going through chapter 36 of the Amulet of Samarkand. We're actually just having our discussion portion. What else came up this chapter?
So the whole. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, with the, like, Lovelace's, like, assassin or whatever, like, there's certain things that were, I don't know, part of his physical description that I thought were, I don't know, it felt like, take note of this. Like, the mentioning of the scars on his hands and things like little details like that. Always has that feeling of, like, this could be important.
Oh, yeah. There's always also the possibility that it may not. Well, no, he took a look at the seventh plane. Never mind!
There is something. The quarrel has a thick white bandage wrapped around one arm.
Yeah.
Which means he's taken damage. He didn't mention anything on the seventh plane, but if he's got it on this plane, there's a very good chance he has taken some damage. Where was the last time we saw the quarrel?
Wasn't it when he got burned by Bartimaeus when he attempted to kill the girl, but Bartimaeus saved her for convenience sake?
Yeah.
Which means Bartimaeus has actually done damage.
Yep.
Well, if he has tentacles, I imagine he gets hurt by fire damage very easily.
Interesting.
Calamari.
Oh, he might be a water demon. Tentacles, fire damage. He might be an aquatic type.
He's a kraken.
Yeah, he.
Release the kraken!
Call of the deep.
He's a crack-a-lackin'.
And his tentacles go deep.
They get to the root of the issue, if you will.
Yep.
But, okay.
Folks.
So,
What was that, Chris?
Farquaad is possibly a water genie or demon or whatever. He works really close with Farquaad. Or no, not Farquaad, Jabor. So, in correlation, there is a chance that Jabor is also a water djinn, possibly? Or alternatively, if we use Pokemon logic and you don't want to have too many of the same type on your team, it could be on the opposite, so it could be electric. Or something all-eating, because apparently Jabor eats a lot of shit.
I guess we'll just have to read on and find out.
If we do find out, because that might be in a later book thing.
Yep.
What else? I'm not really getting anything else from this chapter. It's pretty much just a standard delivery.
My prediction is that the florist van actually has that girl and her group
God damn it.
there.
Okay.
Because
Good prediction.
yeah, because if you remember, Bartimaeus actually made mention, no one's really paying much attention to my van, let alone that florist van over there.
Fair.
Very true.
Another thing. Still to this time, Nathaniel doesn't trust Bartimaeus because he's like, how do I know you're telling the truth? And I'm thinking, you think he's doing this to make it look... You think he's just doing this to be mean? No! If If he sees him, you're all screwed.
Yeah. What? It's like how Jack Sparrow would put it. You can always trust a lion man. It's the honest ones you have to look out for.
Exactly.
Fair.
Because with a lion man, you can always trust that they're going to lie to you about something. Sorry, I interrupted someone. What was someone going to say?
You're good. I'm not really picking up anything else from this chapter. It's a pretty standard delivery scene.
Oh, yeah.
It's very much a setup, I think. Just
Yep.
like setting us up for the next one.
Oh, yeah. Hello, traveling dad.
So that is my that is my actual father.
Hi!
Well, hello.
Hi, Blaze's dad.
So, yeah, I'm not really getting much else. Anybody else?
Not really.
No? Once we get into it, I have a feeling we're going to have a lot to discuss, because we're going to start wrapping up here, I'm pretty sure, within the next couple of chapters. So, it's, yeah, it's going to be a thing. Well, I guess that'll be it for chapter 36 then. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can do so at lanktr.ee/Idiot Book Nook. Not really much else to say. Thanks for joining us for episode 51 of the Idiot Book Nook and chapter 36 of the Amulet of Samarkand. My name is Blazewing.
I am the Reading Dragon.
I'm Lady Punnet.
And I'm Crittershy.
And we'll see you guys for chapter 37 of the Amulet of Samarkand.
Goodbye.